Hi everyone, we're going to have a go at an Easter chick today. Sometimes it's all about having a little bit of fun. I've got nothing pre-prepared here. This is my beginners series. This is Saunders Waterford, 1/4 imperial sheet quartered, so that's 5 by 7 inches taped down. I have got a round number 10, a round number 6 and a rigger. And then I've got a Cotman palette that I've been using. And I'm just going to have a little bit of a play. Sometimes it's just what you need to do to start to learn what your colours will do for you. So my aim is I'm going to do some sort of fun Easter chick. I haven't even got a reference photo. So I'm using my round number 10 to wet the paper really well. And get a nice even sheen on there. I'm going to start with the chick. So we're going to get some nice yellow in. So this is cadmium yellow. My brush is loaded with water and I'm coming into the paint, plenty of paint. Plenty of paint, plenty of water, and we're going to let it do its thing. So I'm dabbing in and I'm creating a chick shape. Smaller head, bigger body. If your head gets too big, make your body bigger. With that brush still loaded, I'm just going to dip into some cadmium red. So we're going to take a little bit of different colour in. So we're going spotty chick now. I'm going to leave a little bit lighter. See what happens. Rinse that brush off. I need some sort of background colour, so I'm going to start with some cerulean blue. We've got a Mohican chick. It's started to flow. So this is just taking some of this blue into the background. You see how I'm working around but not getting right up to the chick. I'm watching the flow of the paint at the minute. It's still very wet. This has flowed to there, which is good. If you let the paint flow to the edge, it's better than mixing them together. You've got to be careful. You've got a blue and an orange happening here. That will make a muddy brown. So I'm not actually painting onto that yellow or orange at all. And I'm still just watching what the paint is doing all the time. Now let's have a look. What other colour shall I use in here? I'm going to use a little bit of this Viridian green. Take a little bit in. Viridian green is a very vibrant green. When used on its own, tends to be, ugh. It's not very often. I think Northern Lights is the only time that I've ever really used it on its own. However, when it's mixed with things, so it makes a beautiful dark green with a brown, it also makes a lovely turquoise with a white. So I've got Chinese white here. There's something that I very rarely use. So we're going to mix some of that in there. The only way you know these things is to play with your colours. You get a beautiful turquoise within there. See that turn into turquoise now. Right, my Mohican looks like it's gone. So what I've done now is I've rinsed my brush and I've dried it off. I'm just going to stop that flow any further. So I've taken a little bit of that yellow out. So I don't want it to go any further. I've got some nice effects happening. So I'm going to swap down to a number 6 now. I'm going to take a little bit of alizarin crimson in. So a red and green, or in this case it's a turquoise, will always make a natural shadow looking colour. So I'm going to mute this down, and this is also going to ground this a little bit. So I'm going to take this through, and I'm mixing on the paper. Mixing on the paper creates much more vibrancy than mixing in the palette. I'm going to bring this into here a little bit. So I'm going to get a little hint of brown there, but that's fine, it's working, it's blending. Okay, I have got here some salt crystals, if I can get into them. Now the crystals, or this is sea salt, tend to draw out more moisture. So I'm going to pop a couple on and see what happens. Just moving this one out because I didn't want it in the chick. Okay, so I'm just going to let that do its thing and I'll come back to you when it's dry. Okay, so that's nicely dry now, and I've rubbed the salt off. So you've got a variety of effects here. Now, often what happens is this. Sea salt has slightly got damp in the container, and I think that's why it's not pulled out in as many cases. But these little marks are going to work really nicely. So I'm now thinking this will work as sort of dandelion clocks on here. So I'm going to continue to work with it. I've got a really nice chick shape anyway. Okay, so I'm making up a little bit of a dark, which is my ultramarine blue and burnt umber. And I want to get a little bit of an eye in. So I'm really making this up. I'm going to leave a little bit of a highlight. We can have a little eye on one side. That's going to work quite nicely. If I wet my brush, then dab it off so it's damp, I'm just going to flow a little stroke either side. That then connects the eye to the body. Then I'm going to have a little beak. So this is a little bit of the cadmium red. Leave a gap in between. This is with my number 6 still. So I've got a little bit of a beak coming in here. You can swap down to a smaller brush if you want to. Don't struggle. And then this is a little bit of the dark coming in. So it's that dark colour, and it's just going to create a little bit of shadow just within there. I'm just tapping this in really. Damp brush again, nice and clean. Then I'm just going to run this that way. So that's going to connect that in there. I'm going to connect it in there. And I'm going to connect it in there. So it's on those corners that it's connecting in. It's looking sweet already. Very cute. One of the things I quite like to do is just take in a dot of cerulean blue into the eye. You won't be able to see that, but I'll try and get a close-up for you at the end. It just gives it a hint of something. Okay. Back into the cadmium red. I'm going to run on 2 legs. Not bothered about feet. We're not going to give ourselves too much of a challenge. And then that's a little bit of the dark coming in. We're going to put some grasses at the bottom. So that's a little bit of that grey. And then again, damp brush, dabbed off each corner. I'm touching in to stroke that in to connect. This bit here, I'm just going to wet there, wet there so I don't end up with a hard edge. We can see how I've left a little bit of the body behind, so it's all, you've got a little bit of a fluffy body behind the legs, not just, take a little bit more shadow in there. So that's a little bit more of that grey, just to hold that together a bit better. Damp brush. So I'm just manipulating the paint. It's looking really sweet. Okay, I'm going to dry that off and then I'm going to come on and do some grasses. Okay, so that's nicely dry. So I have got here a white gel pen. You can get them on Amazon really quite cheaply, and you can put the white highlight back in the eye. So that's a great thing to have into your kit. These are Artex ones. If I can find a link for them, I'll stick them in the description. I'm going to put a little bit of a highlight on the beak there. And then with my grey, I'm just going to bring a connecting bit in between because I've lost that a little bit, so that I've got a proper beak in there. Okay, so I'm going to pick up my round number 10 again and get some colour on here. So this is sap green. I'm going to take it into a well here. I'm going to take a little bit of burnt umber in, so it makes it a little bit more natural. And then I'm going to stroke on. So I want to come over the chick. This is giving me foreground detail. This is on to dry. And we're going to build up some grasses just at the bottom. It's always best to start with the biggest brush you can to get this nice layer on first. Then we can work into it. You want a variety of height, probably not covering the chick up though. I'm going to come into that Viridian and take that over, and then a little bit of the burnt umber, so you're going to get to see that nice darker green. I'm going to bring some of that through. Just be careful you don't eliminate your chick. Just really want to get a nice base in here. I'm going to swap down now to a rigger. So I've got that base in. I want some more precision. So just lots and lots of strokes. Some can come up to the bits where the salt were, then it will just look like the little flowers or dandelion heads, which works really nicely. Okay, and then I'm going to dry this off and come in with a lighter colour with some Chinese white. Okay, so that's nicely dry, and I've spent a bit of time with the Viridian and getting some Chinese white across so that I can get some lighter strokes. So this is like a turquoise now. This is with my round number 6 to start with. Resting on my little finger. And just building that up. So the Chinese white just makes it opaque a little bit. It's going to give you a little bit more depth. Take a little bit more in. And swap down to my rigger. So I get some lighter strokes. So this is really cute and sweet for Easter. Just a little bit more of the white. I'm taking just up some really fine grasses. Okay, and then I just load this up. So this is still quite turquoisey. So this is my round number 6. I'm going to take in some of the cerulean blue as well. Then I'm going to pop my finger really close and hit. I'm going to get some fine light splatter. It's a bit too light for you to see. There we go. And there we go. So I've got a cute Easter chick. A couple of different techniques, just playing really. It would make a lovely Easter card. If you've enjoyed it, please do like, subscribe and share. I'll pop a playlist here and a video link here, and I'll see you next time.